Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and we're going to be talking about Joe Rogan's favorite comic book character and comic book, in fact, it seems. So definitely his favorite comic, and I'm not talking about from the movies. I'm not talking about favorite comic book movie character. No, 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 comic book character, which is kind of cool. We're going to watch a segment from the Joe Rogan podcast. Guys, I'm going to have to break it up a little bit. There's also going to be a lot of commentary in here for stuff. I'm going to have to break up this video a little bit because it's not my video, right? And if I play this video without breaking it up and putting some commentary on it, then it's just outright theft. Like doing it this way, it's the YouTube rules. I don't make them. Then it's fair use because it's comedy or parody or commentary over something else, right? So I have to break it up a few times during this, just so my channel doesn't get taken down or copyright stricken. Anyway, here we go.
But I was going to bring up, have you seen the new The Batman?
Yes.
Well, how do you feel?
I loved it.
You did?
You hated it?
I hated it.
Tell me why.
Okay. First of all, he's total limp dick. Like, he doesn't even bang fucking Zoe Kravitz at the end, who's like the hot
He
ass.
kissed her at least.
Did they French? Did he French her?
I mean, it was like a real kiss.
Very chaste. So here's what I think. he's got no dick and balls. He's a reluctant.
Do you really think he has no dick and balls?
No dick and balls, because he's a reluctant hero, and nothing aggravates me more. Here's who Batman is. He's fucking Bruce Wayne. He's a multimillionaire. He enjoys being Batman. He enjoys his cars. He enjoys being the powerful hero. He puts on the suit. I'm Batman. Remember fucking Vicky Vale and the guy, who's the Beetlejuice, when Beetlejuice was Batman?
Yeah. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton crushed it, and he crushed puss, and he was a virile male. This Batman is like, oh, I've got fucking feelings. His hair is in his eye, and like, what are you doing? Wipe your pussy and go be a hero.
Wow.
Same with Spider-Man. Did you see that horse shit?
You didn't like Spider-Man either?
They're all fucking crying the whole time.
I loved it.
Why are they crying?
There's multiverse. There's multiple Spider-Mans.
And they're all fucking having their periods at the same time. I don't want to see it. Show me men. I want my heroes.
You like the Hulk?
I love the Hulk.
Yeah.
Because that's the dichotomy of human nature. That's Jekyll and Hyde. It's a very traditional story. I love the Hulk, his big green Hulk cock. I love him.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I'm going to pause this for a moment, guys. This is freaking great. I love this. This is Christina P. All right. I don't know who the heck she is. She's so according to the Wikipedia sidebar page, she's a Canadian-born American comedian. So awesome. If she does stand-up, I'm going to have to go watch her stuff right now. All right. You like her opinion, don't like her opinion, whatever. Her timing is freaking spot on, right? And she does not miss a beat. When she goes and says, oh, even the Spider-Man movie, they're all a bunch of little sissies and whatnot. He's like, wait, it's a multiverse. She says they're all crying. He's like, it's a multiverse. There's multiple Spider-Man. She's like, and their periods all synced up. Like they didn't rehearse that stuff, but that could have been scripted. How freaking perfect that was. Her timing is spot on. She's amazing. That was funny. I would love to see what she's actually, if she does some stand-up, I got to go and watch some of her stand-up right now. Really good stuff. I like some of the stuff that she's talking about. Remember, everything these guys are going to be talking about in this until later, until when they actually state, is going to be they're talking about the movie versions of these comic book characters, right? She's not a comic book fan. Rogan barely is a comic book fan. He's going to get into that, and it's great. So keep that in mind, because there's going to be a bunch of people about to flip their wigs and just, the steam coming out of their ears and stuff like that. Remember, they're talking about the movie versions, and these are really excellent points that they're bringing up. Okay.
Now, this is
Michael Keaton.
I liked him. You know who I loved? The Christian Bale.
Christian Bale was the best Batman.
That was the best one.
He was pretty good. I liked Robert Pattinson as Batman.
So tell me,
I thought it was good.
I loved Robert Pattinson as the vampire.
It's he was great in that too.
I loved
It's
him.
suspension of disbelief. You know, like you have this. You're watching a goofy ass movie about a weird fake world, where a guy can like fucking shoot a grappling hook to the top of a building and it pulls him up. It's like there's a lot that you just like take for granted as nonsense.
Yeah.
The thing about Batman has always been that Batman was just a rich guy that had access to all this money so he could buy all this shit and do these things,
It's hot.
which works in a comic book. It really works in a comic book Because in a comic book, like, you kind of got free license for him to create like a fucking nuclear reactor that he could put on a jet ski, and you know what I mean? Like, Batman has all the money; he can do whatever he wants. But in movies, you're like, why is he kicking everybody's ass? How come nobody gets him? How come 3 guys don't gang up on him, take him down, and stab him?
And they're shooting, rounds and rounds at him. They don't. No one in fucking Gotham can shoot a gun.
He's bulletproof. You just don't shoot him in the chin.
Oh shit, that's right.
Question.
Go
So
ahead.
Batman could have been he could have been Iron Man, but he chose not to be because that's all Iron Man is.
That's a very good point.
That's
right?
a good point.
Very good point. I don't think Batman is quite as smart as Iron Man.
He doesn't have the heart thing, which keeps it a big
yeah,
thing.
but
But
Iron
the
Man
money,
is smarter. Tony Stark is like a legit, like, super genius.
And he
Batman's
gets
just rich.
laid.
he
Tony
hired people
gets-
to make it. I
Yeah,
guess,
but Tony Stark is a guy who became rich. What do you want?
I want water.
Oh, that's water in there. Tony Stark is a guy who became rich because he was brilliant.
I like that.
The Batman guy, he's just rich.
Yeah, inherited.
Yeah, he got it from his
All right.
parents.
But
Bruce
also,
Wayne is not like a brilliant. He's not a super genius.
That's a good point.
That's the most.
Okay, he's not a super genius. So this is all, again, this is movie version. Now, let's stop and let's think about this. She's still railing on about, I want a guy who I want to bang. Hey, dude, right or wrong, guys, men, not blue-haired people, men, all right, who like to work out or at least want to not be fat, right? You want a woman to look at you and be like, if you're not gay or, alphabet. But even if you are, you want someone to look at you and be like, right? You want that. You know what I'm saying? I know I enjoy that. I'm a freaking hunk of burning love. And I'm saying, I walk into a room and I'm just like, what are you doing? Women start rubbing their legs like a cricket, or at least in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I want. I want to be attractive. I want my wife to be a little bit jealous. I don't want her to be nervous. I don't want to start thinking I'm actually going to cheat, but I want her to just be a little bit like, who is this bitch? Why is she looking at my man like this? I want that. I want that. Even at 46 years old, I want that. And you do too. Deep inside, somebody's out there making a TikTok video and showing folds of fat and stuff like that. Like, they want it too. All right. They've just given up on life. As far as the rest of us are concerned, we want that. That's part of what, like, to the victor go the spoils, to the hero go the rewards. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want something like that. Like, that's your reward. For being brave, for being masculine, for being something special. You want some kind of reward for it. There's no such thing as a truly selfless hero. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to not take the money, but you're going home with the woman. Am I right or am I wrong? Look at Super Mario, right? Even us Italians know what's going on. He's clearly one of those Northerners, right? Anyway, and I say it like a Southerner. I say his name like a freaking Sicilian. It's not Mario. That's those prissy Northmen. Us New York Italians, us New Jersey Italians, it's Mario. All right? Frickin' Mario over there. What's Mario doing over there, huh? Yeah, that's us. Anyway. But while she's going on about that, he's actually talking about the difference between the comic books and the movies, right? The movies, the same thing that all of us were saying. There's a whole bunch of guys standing around freaking Robert Pattinson. He comes out, I'm vengeance. Oh, yeah? Well, what are you going to do? Bam! Bam, 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 bam. Beats the living crap out of everybody's looking around. Oh, my God, what do I do? Look, in the comic books, there's a reason why, in my opinion, for a fact, the comic books have more freedom than any movie will ever have, because you're controlling the timing, right? In the movie, the timing is going to happen. While he's sitting there beating up on people, they had to show what these other people were doing, because, like, why aren't they just jumping him? But in a movie, you can just have him, multiple boom, 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 one quick flash of everybody, and it can look more real than a movie can, because the people, like, oh, they're just looking around. But in a comic book, you like that is all it takes, and maybe somebody starts running in the background. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're controlling the timing. So, or the creators, they're controlling the timing. So it's the difference is profound. Otherwise, like he says, why wouldn't everybody else just jump on? When we saw that scene, Batman pounding on the guy, how come everybody else didn't just jump on him? Because I would have. The guy in a freaking knight's armor, dark knight's type armor, that stuff is heavy. And he goes down, he starts beating up my friend. I'm jumping in. I am jumping in. I'm putting boots to bats. You know what I'm saying? In the worst way. I'm talking about stomp. Yeah, that's the idea. Stomp. Yeah, that's the idea. Get down, move that Batman. Like I'm putting the freaking boots to this guy's freaking head. You know, I'm going Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm stomping a moat hole in his chest. You know, that's me. I'm saying. And everybody else, for the most part, is thinking that too. It's not realistic when you do stuff like that. When he talks about the part where he shoots the grappling hook up in this guy, I always wonder, like, how could, I mean, maybe somebody did. But do they have the thing where you remember the old drills where you'd put your finger inside and you pull back for it to drill forward, but you pull forward for it to drill back? You know, nowadays they just got the switch to go back and forth. I'm a man. I know how to use power tools. How you doing, ladies? Rubbing your legs like a cricket. Anyway, what I'm saying is I know how to use power tools. My wife likes it. When I go and I have to go and hang a freaking picture frame, like, I got this bed, you know, towel over my keep the battery, you know, charged. Tim Allen over here hanging a freaking picture frame, but it looks good. I look good. Sometimes I do it without his shirt. You know, a big hairy Italian chest. Yeah, I don't know what you look. I look hot. All right. And I hang a picture frame and I look like a hero when I do it. I'm saying all of a sudden there are more kids born running around the house. It's the craziest thing in the world, right? Anyway, I'm being silly. I always wondered, how come they don't have, you know, the thing where it's like a little switch and a special little button hidden? So it's like, you know, when it pulls you up, Batman knows, push that button, and there's 2 or 3 phases of pulling you up. Zzz, and then fold, so it doesn't tear your arm off. Anybody who doesn't know where that button is, they go and steal his stuff. It's like, oh, bye-bye, bats. Shoo, ah! And the freaking arm, I don't want the arm to get ripped off the socket, you know, or, you know, ripped off. But it would be cool if, you know, it's like it completely dislocates his arm. He's just saying that, ah! And the guy, you know, has to Mel Gibson himself, which isn't real. But you know what I'm saying? They have to do something like that in order to, you know, I think like things like that would be cool. See, in the comic books, things like that, they could really show off, right? You could do it in the movies too, but think about what they just said about from the movie version. Batman's not a super genius. Batman's not as smart as Tony Stark. Comic book people, their heads are spinning with steam coming out the ears, right? It's like freaking Mr. Slade in the Flintstones with all break time, you know, time to leave. And they're just like, freaked out. It's like scanners, some people, their heads are about, boom, you know, because they said, Batman isn't that smart? Second smartest person in the DC universe behind only Lex Luthor, and that's just on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Smarter than Mr. Terrific, smarter than everybody else. Get out of town with that crap. But when they sit there and they start talking all the time in these movies, talking about, oh, we got to make Batman different. The only thing they're doing is making him darker. They said in this one, oh, no. We're going to make him a detective in this one. He's going to really be a detective in this one because we're going to make him different. He's going to be a detective. He was the shittiest detective ever. I've seen clips, and I had people talk to me about this freaking thing. I got the damn movie on my computer. I still don't want to watch the damn thing. I don't want to waste my life doing it. I can't bring myself to watch this stupid movie, right? Apparently he's going around, he's trying to solve different things with numbers. It turns out it's actually something different, very easy, right in front of his face. People in the audience were like, oh, it's this. And the Batman and Commissioner Gordon are like, oh, it's that. And they're like, oh, it's that? Okay. And then like by the end of the movie, it's like, oh, it was the thing that I said. I was right. Batman and Commissioner Gordon was wrong. Give me a bat suit, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like you made the character dumb. And you're sitting there multiple times trying to find ways to get into a club and stuff like that. Real Batman would buy the damn club and that would be over. That would be the end of it. And he would have a secret entrance into the damn thing. Like, come on. In the comic books, it was like, oh, Alfred, put it through such and such and such, you know? Oh, yeah, Tom King came along and Tom King to Alfred. God damn it. Anyhow, my point is, right? They keep on just making the movies darker. They say they're going to make him a detective. They make him a detective. How about you make him smart for once? Because they don't ever really focus on the fact that he's super duper smart. Think about all the different representations of Batman, and somehow the Batman with Burt Ward and Dick Chamberlain, whatever the hell the guy's name is, right? The two freaking, you know, the Batman and Robin, the Bow Piff Bam TV series, movie first and then the TV series, Cesar Romero and all them. How is it That was the smartest Batman, the best detective, the one who was the smartest, the one who could think better than everybody. That was the smartest Batman that we've got. And Batman's beginning dumber and dumber as time goes on. More violent, and they sure as hell been making it darker. If you remember all my criticisms of what they've been doing with the Batman movies, it's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty bright, right? And then all of a sudden, besides the original serial, 12 episodes long, but it was in black and white. Forget about the black and white one. When you actually go and it's like bright colors and Bow Biff Pam and stuff like that, the Pharaoh running around, right? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, 89 Batman, let's make him dark. Oh, Christian Bale comes along. It's actually called The Dark Knight. Let's make it darker. Jared Leto comes around. Let's make it darker still. Each movie, they keep on making it darker. I used to make the joke with Vince McMahon. They're talking about, all right, I need to make Batman darker, make the movie darker. I want you to take the movie, and I want you to turn the lights all the way down until it's just about off. And when you get it all the way down to where it's just about off, actually turn it off. And then I want you to throw black ink, opaque the damn movie screen, and like make it dark. And then take a quilt and put over top. Not that goddamn red one. There's some color in there. No, put a black quilt over top of it. God damn it. Like I'm saying, this is not a very family-friendly episode, all right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what they've been doing lately. Everything darker and darker and darker. F the darker. How about we make him smart? Even if he's just academia smart and he doesn't have as much hands, he's got more theoretical knowledge, right? Because he didn't have the chance to actually put any of this stuff into use because he's been too busy doing push-ups and stuff like that, right? Learning how to make batarangs and his own stuff and whatnot. Like, make the guy actually intelligent for once in these movies. So we got somebody smarter than, nah. Stop that. Let's try to, there's only about 1:47. I'm going to let this one run off.
Good point.
That's the most
But
important.
here's the deal. So I have a very hard time feeling bad for rich characters. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm an orphan. Well, who cares? We all are, okay? A lot of us had shitty parents.
Yeah.
So you've got millions of dollars. Go have fun.
Right.
Go have fun with this Batman. I found him to be very just fey and like,
But no one was having fun in the whole movie. The whole movie was my mom died, everyone's dead, cokes everywhere.
That's what
the
I'm
whole
saying.
movie, but the whole movie was dark.
Yeah, it's a fucking bummer, man. I don't want to be bummed out. I want fun. Show me some life.
Who's your favorite like superhero character in films?
That's such a good fucking question. I don't like Superman because he's too American Pie. I like a little darkness.
My favorite's Blade.
Go ahead. Blade. Can you bring up Blade? I'm not
Blade.
even sure
Wesley
I've seen
Snipes.
this. Yeah, he's dope.
He killed vampires.
I like vampires.
I'm 100% on his side.
Okay.
Plus, he's a daywalker. He's part vampire.
How does this work? So how does this work?
His mother was bit while he was in the womb.
So how did he can walk during the
Yes,
day?
he can walk during the day, but he's got vampire powers. But they have to keep giving him injections of blood
Oh, I like
because
that.
he wants to kill people and eat them, but he doesn't because he's a good guy, and he knows karate.
Dude, I can see all of this lining up for you.
Yeah, it's my 100% favorite.
I like
of all
that,
those
dude.
Things. Yeah. Wesley Snipes was fucking badass as Blade too. It's perfect because I was a fan of Blade, the comic book, where he had teak weapons. He used a really hard wood because vampires, you got to put a stake through their heart.
Yeah.
So he had teak stakes that he carried with him.
This ends this clip. The rest of it was just a couple more minutes. He's talking to her about you. She says, oh, I didn't know teak was a real kind of wood. Yeah, it was a real kind of wood, strong. And he tries to go on about it a little bit more. And then she says, I want to see the new Tom Cruise jet Top Gun. I want to see the new Top Gun. And he's like, oh, yeah, Tom Cruise. And he's talking about how great. And then all of a sudden he starts talking about vampires again because the vampire Lestat, Tom Cruise doing the interview with the vampire and stuff like that. Anyway, so they start kind of going all over the place with different stuff. But that's pretty much the end of the comic book talk. That was very fun watching Joe Rogan nerd out about an actual comic book character, not a comic book movie character, a comic book character. That was really fun. And Blade, yeah, absolutely freaking awesome. Ever since that movie came out, right? I said the story before, how I love the idea that, they took this character at the end of the movie. I was thinking, because we didn't watch trailers back in the day, right? I graduated in 1993. The internet wasn't a thing until like maybe 96, but 97 is when I first, really got into it. It was 99 and 2000, 98, 99, 2000 when I started actually working on projects with a big team to make wireless internet. There's a whole bunch of people doing it. The Australians wound up beating us. They didn't have the red tape, but we ours the New Bridge one, ours actually got sold to the military, to aerospace. So I don't know if they still use it today, but we made our money doing that. So boom. Anyway, we didn't have internet when we were kids. I had a Commodore 128, and that was twice as good as the Commodore 64. I'm saying. Like that's what we had. That's the computer that we had in our house, and most people did not have a computer in their house. I used to play Spy versus Spy and stuff. Whatever. Anyway, nobody could just look up stuff. So if you want to see a trailer, you got to hope that you got lucky and you saw it while you were watching some kind of a television show. Otherwise, we saw trailers that in the beginning of watching our movies in the movie theaters. That's how we saw trailers. We didn't go to see enough movies, so we didn't see the trailer. Me and my buddy Chris, we didn't see the trailer for Blade. We went to go see this movie, and I was thinking to myself, Blade, hey, vampire stuff. I wonder if this is supposed to be the Blade, from the comic books. Nah, that character mostly sucked. Like he wasn't working on it. And you saw the black leather coat and all this other stuff, and it's Wesley Snipes. It's like goddamn amazing movie. Holy crap. But Chris, is that the one from the comic books? Is like, kind of. Yes, this is the one from the comic books, but in the comics, he had a brown bomber jacket way back in Tomb of Dracula. Brown bomber jacket, a bandolier with stakes in it, you know what I'm saying? And he had an afro and some goggles and stuff like that. I'm saying this was not nearly as cool of a freaking character as what we just saw in here. Like the black leather jacket and everything is amazing. So around when that movie came out, yeah, they started pumping out a bunch of Blade comic books. What do you call it? And they were good. They were good. There was the one thing where they were talking about teak because, it's very special and whatnot. Then he used not yoyoba. What the hell is the wood from the forest that man-ape would use? Crap. Oh, now I'm mad at myself. I can't remember what the name of that wood was. Anyway, from the Black Panther comic books. There'd be that wood that was super hard. Why did you just use that wood? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it existed by the time those comics came out. People just weren't as familiar with the comic books that they were reading at the time or that they were making. Anyway, whatever it is, like all that stuff is actually really cool. They showed where he got the trench coat from. He got it from Wolverine. Surprise. But I mean, like they were good comic books. So yeah, he was reading those comic books back in late 80s and early 90s, That is freaking awesome. And it's great to see him geeking out over an actual comic book character, Some of the things that he says, they just make so much sense, right? They make so much sense. Even some of the things that she was saying. When we think about this, our heroes, the male heroes are being made weaker, while the female heroes are being made less realistic. Stronger, yes. We don't care about stronger. The idea they're being less realistic. The idea that, where are all the strong female heroes? You mean like Ripley from the Alien franchise? You mean like Sarah Connor from the Terminator franchise? You mean like Christy from Nightmare on Elm Street? You mean like Kirsty from Hellraiser? You mean like all the survivors aside from that one dude? What the heck was that one dude's name who was in the 4 movies, different actors? And the 4, there's 3 different movies for Friday the 13th, where it's the same guy who was actually surviving each time. Tommy Jarvis, something like that, I think it was. Anyway, yeah, aside from him, it was always women who survived and managed to get a killing blow on Jason before they left. By the way, happy Friday the 13th to everybody. All of the horror movies, it was typically always females who survived and wind up killing the main bad guy, right? There's so many movies like that. And they had a great story. Like they weren't just, boom, we come out. It's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando where it's just like, I am awesome. And the reason why is because I can smell people who are, downwind for me. And if I'm downwind, I can smell them. And it's like, dude, stop that nonsense. It's a campy movie and everybody knows a campy movie. And all those movies that get put in the campy field, those aren't anything special to us, right? And we don't want to see those exact same campy movies made with women. I want to see actual strong women, but I want to see how they became strong. I want to see them becoming a hero. Luke Skywalker didn't start off, Bilbo and Frodo and Sam didn't start off, right? All of the great heroes, Harry Potter, none of these heroes, these male heroes, started off being super strong and you're just holding me back and I dare you because I'm going to kick your butt because I am awesome. I just have to overcome myself. No, they actually had to learn how to be awesome, and then they found the power within themselves and they became awesome. And they had adversity to overcome, and they weren't so damn sure. They really felt like their lives were in jeopardy and their mission was going to fail. They were actually built as characters. Imagine that. I don't know, but to make a strong female character, she can have no weaknesses. She has to start off as totally amazing, and that's boring. I don't care if you do that with a guy. I don't care if you do that with a girl. It's boring. I never really talked to you guys too much about I don't think I talked to you at all about the Moon Knight television series, those 6 episodes that came out on Disney Plus. They were all right. They were all right. You know, they finally introduced Jake Lockley. For those of us who are comic book fans and know the Moon Knight character, it's like, oh, Steven, was that you? No, Mark, was that you? It's Jake Lockley. No shit, Sherlock. Everybody who knew his character. The thing they got away with is that nobody knows that character except for me and maybe like 3 other guys. I could probably name them. You know what I'm saying? Very few of us know about the Moon Knight character, so they can get away with changing a bunch of stuff. I was cool with that. And the one thing, my wife is Somali, for those of you who don't know, and she was like, you know, the end of that 3rd episode, the one guy who they wound up killing before he got resurrected, he was the mummy and he was in this sarcophagus and everything. He was this great warrior who's going to kick some butt. I wish they would have went more into it because that was real, well, to a degree. Those people and where he came from, they were the Kushite, not the Bantu. They were the Kushites, right? They were one of the Kushites, and they were one of the Kush people that were great warriors, like on the level of what they claimed that the Maasai used to be. Like the Maasai are still supposed to be pretty tough, not like they were back in the day. And these guys are supposed to be like, in case the Maasai come over and mess with us, they weren't at the time, but in case they do, we got these guys. The Somalis were like, listen, tough as we may be, come on down here. We need you to be our Imperial Guard. And they were like, we got your back. And they knew they were good. Like that was one of those people. So that was really cool to see, right? Who was this Fatima? Was it Fatima? Whatever the hell her name was, right? Who was this chick? She wasn't in the comic books, right? Mark Spector actually had a woman in his books. They actually eventually made it so they had a daughter also, which I guess they could have done something better with it, but it's Bemis. Anyway, it was all right. All right, it was all right. The idea, however, is that they focus too much on making him weaker, and more importantly, they made him misogynistic, chauvinistic, at the very least, chauvinistic. He's so worried, Mark, about this Fatima, whatever her name is. Like, who is this character? Why did you need to make her? Why was she so important to the damn show? Why'd you have to give her an avatar form also? Why'd you have to do all this other stuff with her? Who is she? It's called Moon Knight, not whatever this chick is, right? It was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. They kept on trying to do this thing where it's like, oh, we must rescue her. She didn't need rescuing. At any moment, she did not need rescuing. Mark needed rescuing, and not even because of her. He needed rescuing. Stephen especially needed a lot of rescuing, specifically. Worried about her serving Khonshu. At one point, Khonshu's like, be my gal. She's like, no. And it could have been over that. He kept on saying, if I had an avatar, not happening. There was no threat there, no worries. She was more than capable of handling herself. He didn't have to try and do anything. Like, she was very confident, I don't know where she came from, but she was just as apt as Mark. The only thing is that he had a suit that healed him, that regenerated him, and she didn't. Aside from that, there was no difference between these two. I don't need to see a damsel in distress, but I don't need to see a jackass being dumb enough to constantly be like, I will rescue you. At some point, I expected her to be like Rey against Finn in that first sequel Star Wars thing, The Force Awakens, I think it was called. I was like, stop grabbing me, stop pulling me. It's like, yeah, stop. What are you doing? Right? There was just no need for this, and it made Mark look stupid and chauvinistic. There was no need to make him look weaker to make her look stronger because it's not her show. It's his. It would be nice if and they do stuff like this in the comic books also, you know? Can't make a female look to be silly. Unless you're an amazing writer like Kelly Thompson, then you absolutely can, right? Carla Pacheco, there are a couple women who could do something like that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of women out there who, no, I have to make my females look strong because girl power and blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. Does anybody remember, like, the Greeks? What do you call it? Ares was the god of war, but the person who was greater at war than him was Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She was tougher than him and better at war, right? Remember the stories of the Homeric things, the Iliad, the Odyssey, right? All this stuff where it's like, oh, they're fighting in Troy, Helen of Troy, the face that could launch 1,000 ships. They take this out of the movies and stuff like that, but at one point she's like, this is my fault. Why did I get with Paris instead of with a man? Why did I get with Paris, this pretty boy, instead of with a man who was brave enough to go out and fight for his people, like his big brother Hector, when he goes out and he fights against Ajax and all that, like really good stuff, and freaking pussyface Orlando Bloom in the Troy movie, right? Freaking Paris, he's hiding and Athena has to come and save him. Demeter had something to say about that. There you go. But I mean, like you look at some of these stories and whatnot. Like women weren't necessarily made to be weak all of the time. Sorry, like, am I wrong in this? Am I? Women didn't always need to be rescued. Sometimes the women were the tough ones too. And they wanted their men to be brave. They wanted their men to be strong. You look in the Bible. You look in all these like Esther, the story of Esther and stuff like that. Like Rachel. Like there were some really tough women out there. Hagar, however you want to pronounce her name, abandoned in the desert and wound up giving birth to this tribe, like the tents of Kedar and whatnot. Like a lot of stuff going on. Sarah was no slouch either. A little jealous, but deal with it. Right? Some really strong females. You're going to say that Mary, mother of Jesus, mother of God, if you're, Catholic specifically, you're going to tell me that she was weak? There are strong characters who are females who aren't just, damsel in distress. I don't remember Mary ever needing to be rescued. I don't remember that even once. Is it just me? I think that too often, and Christina P focuses on that a lot, and it is what it is. I think that a lot of what she's saying makes sense. And so much of what Joe is saying makes sense also about the way that comics have a better opportunity to present these stories, because when you go to a movie, everybody goes to a movie. It's a comic book movie. Those things sell out. I remember when I went on my vacation, what do you call it? Some of us who were going fishing were like, let's go see Doctor Strange. It was opening night. It was that Friday last week. It was a week ago today. Happy Friday 13th to everybody. Last week on the nose, we went to go and see Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, right? Some of us, not all of us. I went. And I remember like the movie theater, there was a woman who came up to us specifically. I don't know why. We were very jovial and friendly, I guess. I was like, hey, so this is the line to see that Marvel movie? I'm like, well, yeah, because we thought that was the one, because it was weird that she asked that. She's like, where's the line to see any other movie? I was like, okay, this is the movie line. I think most of us are here to see that movie, but yeah, it's the same line, sorry. She's like, oh, okay, thanks. She went to the back of the line. Sorry. Only movie theater in town, in several towns, is what it is. A lot of Mennonites around there, though. Maybe that explains it. But I mean, and a huge Native American population is what it is. But I mean, so I know that these movies are big and more audiences go to see them, but the comic books are very specific. And yes, they used to sell a whole lot better. And one of the reasons because more of us had faith that the comic books were going to be good. Unfortunately, it's just not the kind of, thoughts that I have nowadays. I don't believe the comics are going to be any good anymore for the most part. Sometimes I get surprised. Sometimes they surprise me. They please me. I enjoy getting pleased. Did I mention the rubbing their legs like a cricket thing? Anyway, but you have so many more opportunities to make great fun things in the comic books because the people who read the comic books aren't like the movie people. We're there specifically for the comic books. We're a very specific audience that, yeah, will probably go and see a movie also. I don't see all of them. I still haven't seen the Batman, in full. I still haven't seen Eternals, and I owned it. Well, I have my subscription to Disney Plus, you know. I don't know what to tell you. There's some I'm just not interested. But there's some comic books I just can't pass up. And I hate being disappointed by them, but the comic books is where it's at, baby. And I need to read me a good comic book. I don't know what to tell you. And you got an audience that goes in there built specifically to enjoy what you're going to do with this character. Unrealistic, whatever you're going to do. That Batman can get 2 hours of sleep once every 3 years, right? I'm exaggerating a little bit, not too much, right? He's mastered every of the major side. Like he created STEM. He mastered all the martial arts and has made several on his own, right? He's super duper strong, the peak human stuff, and he went through time and did all these really cool things as the cave bat story stuff and came back to life and he dodge omega beams and like he's amazing in all the things that he does. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it as long as you stop killing Alfred, Tom King. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of that stuff. And we get that stuff in the comic books. Nobody who reads the Batman comic book says that Batman's not as smart as Tony Stark. We're like, Tony Stark? Batman doesn't need an Iron Man suit. That's why he doesn't wear an Iron Man suit. But he could build an Iron Man suit if he wanted to. Hello, he's built some. So that's what I'm talking about. Guys, the movies versus the comic books. I'll take the comic books any day of the week. Maybe I'll take a movie. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to go and see that on my own. But some of my friends wanted to see it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go see it. Guys, enjoy yourselves. Be good to yourselves and to each other. That's Jerry Springer, right? Whoa, the nature boy. Limousine riding, jet plane flying. No, that's very specifically the Ric Flair guy. Shoot, what else is there? I'll be back. That's Arnold. We're just talking about him. What's mine? Oh yeah, like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismiss. I'm just saying.